All right, we are here with Piper, who is a Ray Aviation Scholarship recipient. And we're here today just to kind of tell her story, learn a little bit about the scholarship, and maybe help someone out there get into the process of getting the scholarship for themselves. So Piper, first, I gotta ask, how'd you get your name?
So my dad was going for his pilot's license. He's always been to flying, and he used to fly model airplanes all the time. So I'm named after Piper J3 Cub.
Nothing wrong with that.
My dad's.
It's a classic.
My dad says it's because it's a pain in the butt plane to fly, and that's why I'm.
It's a classic. Tell us how this whole scholarship thing happened. What inspired you? What got you going? What made you want to do this?
So I've kind of always loved planes, and we used to go up to Oshkosh when I was a kid, so I've always loved it. And I moved to Middleton my sophomore year, and then this last year I decided to there was a job application on the board for working at the airport, and I was like, sure, why not? Maybe I'll start working on my license or something and get me back into it. And then I was working here probably about mid-December. Randy, who works in the office, was like, hey, so there's a scholarship. I know I told you shouldn't work on it, you should wait till after college, but if they're going to pay for it, you should totally do it.
I first met Piper working out here. She was working on the line as a line technician. She hadn't taken any lessons the first time I met her, and I was kind of like, hey, why aren't you learning how to fly? You work here. You seem like you enjoy being here. Why not learn how to fly? And she's like, well, I don't really have the money. I'm going to college. I'm busy. I'm getting ready for school. I don't have time to dedicate and the money to dedicate to getting a license in just a couple months. And I was like, man, that's a real bummer. If only there was a way to do that, because she seems like such a passionate person. Turns out she actually applied for the scholarship, got the scholarship.
Found out I had the scholarship mid-April.
Wow, mid-April, and you were about to graduate high school, right?
Yep, graduated on June 2nd.
And then it was cram time.
Yeah, I started flying. My first logged flight is May 2nd, and during May, Remy was pretty busy, but Rich and Evan, I'd fly with whoever was available. I'd look at the scheduler because I had access to it from work, and I just put my name on there and be like, hey, want to fly today? You had an opening. And I'd fly basically any day I could.
It has been a very fast track.
Wow.
Yes, and that's typically, the shortest amount of time I had ever heard of someone getting a pilot's license was 3 months prior to Piper, but she was so dedicated. She was here almost every day. We were doing lesson after lesson, constantly moving forward, and it actually didn't feel too bad. It wasn't that stressful. Being a new flight instructor, I didn't really know how exactly that was going to go, but with Piper being so dedicated to that timeline, she nailed it.
End of June to July, to when I actually took my test, I crammed a whole bunch and studied, put a lot of time watching the videos and making sure it got done. It needed, I had a deadline and I had to finish it then.
After you solo, they cut your shirt or something? What's up with that?
Yeah. So in two-seater planes that one sits in front and one sits in the back, there's this old thing where they used to tug on your shirt to get your attention. So now you cut the back of the shirt because you don't need to be tugged on anymore because you're your own pilot.
So the process of getting the scholarship, was that a lot of paperwork, or was it just you filled the applications out and you got some sponsors here? You know, a little more detail on that for somebody that might want to be trying to do that now?
So my story is kind of a lot different. I know they were kind of looking for people, and I kind of got pulled into it and told hey, you're interested in this, you should come do an interview. And then we did the interview, and then I had to write a little, I think it was about 250-word essay about just why I thought I deserved it, why I like to fly, just about why I would make a good candidate. And then I ended up filling out the application, and then you get a call whether you got it or not, and I got it.
Cool.
So definitely get involved with the EAA chapter. Make sure you're helping out, it's all about the people you know. Just hanging out at the airport too. There are a lot of pilots who will come around. I went up in Roger Stuckey's plane. He's the president of the EAA, and he was just sitting out front waiting, doing whatever. And I just got done with a flight lesson. He comes in and I was like, oh, is that your plane? He's like, yeah, you want to go up for a ride? And got to go up and ride for my first biplane.
More hours, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. So I've flown in quite a few different planes just because working here in the chapter, there's a lot of people who will want to fly and will take you up. You just have to ask and find time.
So what's your favorite?
I really enjoyed flying in Mike Love's Yak 52. We went up and did aerobatics, and I got to do loops and stuff, and I love that stuff. I love roller coasters.
The next Patty Wagstaff?
Maybe one day. So after I still have to do a lot of check ride prep for my check ride, and then I have to do my oral exam and then my practical exam. And then after I will get it Wednesday. After I get it, I want to continue to progress and get my instrument rating, my commercial rating. I also really want to get my CFI and start to teach other people. I don't necessarily want to go into the airlines or anything, but I want to keep flying and making sure that other helping to bring other people into it, because it's a whole different world out here at the airport.
It is. What are you studying in school?
I'm going to be going to school for engineering, and then I also, right now the plan is to get my teaching degree out there too, get it all in one double major. I haven't quite decided what engineering. Probably my favorite memory was going for my first solo. My dad was like, "Hey, that's going to be your quietest plane ride ever." And then I went up and I was talking to myself because I was like, it's too quiet.
Mental checklist?
Right. And then you hear your instructor's voice while you're up there, look long, flare, you can hear those things and they're not there, but you remember it all. Also, my first solo cross country to Boscobel, I got to fly along the river, and the Boscobel airport's right on the river, and then there's some bluffs. It's so pretty, and just that freedom of I'm finally becoming a pilot. I can fly, I can do these things. I'm not stuck to a rectangular pattern around the airport.
Okay, one last thing and we'll close. Look right at the camera there and tell the young kids out there that might see this why they need to apply for the scholarship.
You should apply for the scholarship because it makes it a lot easier. Not having to think about the money. There was 1 week I flew literally every day, and a couple of those days I flew twice. It's a lot of fun, and if you're really passionate about planes and flying, it's the way to get into it. It makes life easier.